Running out of ideas for your next art project? I know it can be frustrating to find a new place to use as your next subject. Look no further. Here at Penn State, we have the Arboretum. The Arboretum is made up of multiple garden areas containing different scenery, sculptures, ponds, and fountains. Each sets a different mood. However, subject and an artwork's mood aren't the only two parts that make up a successful piece. Artwork needs to contain some of both the elements of art and principles of design. The elements of art consist of line, shape, form, space, texture, value, and color. The principles of design contain balance, proportion, rhythm, unity, repetition, contrast, gradation, and a focal point or emphasis. Here are some examples of the elements and principles to help you understand the basics of each one and their importance. In this example, the photo makes good use of emphasis, line, shape, repetition, and rhythm. The stones are the focal point and the lines balance the photo. The repeated lines create movement throughout the piece. Another important aspect is size or proportion. This relates to creating space and distance between objects. Apart from composition, a lot of artwork includes line and texture to create movement and pattern. Lastly, color contributes to the mood of the artwork. It is important to consider how you want someone else to view your artwork and how to best show it using color. You may be asking yourself how these elements and principles apply to the Arboretum. Here are some example photos of objects that can be used for an art piece. This photo employs good use of line, which creates space and movement. Your eye is automatically drawn to the right. The repetition of the bushes on the left helps create the movement while adding color at the same time. This also makes good use of line. In addition, there is balance between both sides because they are outlined by snow and plants. Your eye is led directly to the building at the end of the path. Color and repetition is more prominent in this example. Even though there isn't a main focus, the horizon is on the upper half and not directly in the middle. This stone pattern uses line and shape to create movement. It allows the viewer's eye to travel around the piece before reaching the focus point. This can add emphasis to the objects around the spiral. If you like detail, the Arboretum has objects such as these pots that include a lot of contrast and a lot of texture. Also, the color palette would work well because there are a lot of subtle tones. This photograph depicts a lot of contrast and line. The lines create repetition and rhythm. This type of piece pays close attention to detail. If you are just focusing on color, using a flower arrangement like this can be used to show vibrant colors and details. This could also be turned into a monochromatic piece using only different shades of purple. The trees in this photo show good use of pattern, repetition, and line. The viewer's eyes will be led right along the tree line. This is another example of line, contrast, and focal point. The focal point is within the rule of thirds. There will be a strong contrast between the complementary colors of orange and blue, and the lines lead your eye around the composition. If you are focusing on a piece with contrast, an area like this with strong lights and darks will represent it well. This would also be monochromatic and shows movement in the stone lines. This last photo focuses on rhythm, movement, and emphasis. The repetition and curve of the stones creates movement and allows the viewer's eye to be led to the focal point, which lies on the top right in the rule of thirds. There's more to art than just the composition. The style of artwork will also affect what kind of objects you use. For photographers, there are more options on whether or not you want to focus on a scene or a tiny detail of a single object. For painters, you usually are more focused on color, and drawers are more focused on shape, contrast, space, and form. Drawers may want to focus on the structures such as the sculptures, fountains, benches, and people. Painters may want to focus on the flowers, trees, and mountain views. Overall, as an artist, you can use the scenes and objects in the Arboretum to create a successful compositional piece.